Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Here's Jay. Boy, do I sound loud? Maybe not. Anyway, opinions expressed. You're going to hear some of my opinions expressed. I don't know who agrees and who doesn't, but I'm happy you're here. And welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490 AM, where we contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for retirement and how to best stay happily retired. Even if you're not retired like me. And today we're going to be joined by Laurie. I think you remember Laurie. Once again, we're going to talk about taxes and horror movies. I don't know which one is going to be more important, but I'm not sure that they're that different. Are you? So she's probably our most repeated offender. Perhaps her along with Chris Bissonette. And Chris Bissonette does some great talks about finance and whether or not we landed on the moon and other conspiracies. So great stuff right here on KMET. Remember, call, email, or visit Dr. Heckham, drhecm.com, or theeducatedretirementradio.com, or just email me, bestloantoday@gmail.com, bestloantoday@gmail.com, and ask me for a free, no holds barred and no obligation look at what may work for you. The reason is simple: education and education only. 866-955-2233. Knowledge is power. Know the facts. Compare the numbers. And it really is, no matter what you may think or not think, and I think most of you are thinking, otherwise you wouldn't be listening. But it's just too important an issue to ignore, and you certainly don't want to eliminate it based on not fully understanding it. So call me and hang on, because today I better take a deep breath for this one. We're going to take a closer look at Cupid on a Ferris wheel with Crash Corrigan. Wow. Let me start over again. We're going to take a closer look at Cupid on a Ferris wheel with Crash Corrigan in a monkey suit dancing with the Nicholas brothers for Groucho's mother at Hanging Rock. I did it. Okay. 866-955-2233. My day job, and yes, I have one. Luckily, I do. And it's really busy these days. I can't hardly and happily do believe how, well, I know how important the reverse mortgages are, both to the consumers, the people that do them, the government, the future of Social Security, everybody, and the banks that get involved. And some people may wonder why the banks like them so much when there's no payments. There are so many reasons why they love them. We can talk about that. We'll talk about it on another show, actually. But my day job is I am a loan officer at the Loan Source, and my NMLS, which is the National Mortgage Licensing System, is 384565, Department of Real Estate, which I work under its umbrella, although I don't sell real estate, 792630, and we believe in challenging the status quo, don't you? Families and people need to be active, not reactive. And today is, what is today? Well, before I tell you what today is, let me show you something. Oh, that wasn't too good. Let me breathe again. That is a gift from one of my clients, Dan and Danny Luna. And thank you, Danny, so much. And appreciate it. He also gave me a very fancy cigar clipper. what I see through there. In fact, it's so fancy, I can hardly believe it was for me. But if he wants to think me that fancy and highbrow, so be it. And I appreciate them so much, and everybody we work together with. Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And how do people in California, how do we celebrate? Well, we have here in California what's called Stupid Cupid. Stupid Cupid. Valentine's Day with several events, including Mortified, where that is an extravaganza where people celebrate and commiserate with stories of past Valentine's Days gone awry. So you can head for Sacramento, San Francisco, San Diego, and Hollywood to get on board with one of those. But be sure to love yourself this Valentine's Day. Buy yourself a gift you would like. And I got a gift. So celebrate with friends, and you got to realize that no one is certain if the classic Cupid, depicted as a winged messenger, was intended as a sarcastic comment on the similarities between warfare and romance. So what do you think? But on the other hand, maybe Cupid offers a reminder that love conquers all. And one good place to celebrate is on a Ferris wheel. And today is Ferris Wheel Day. This is the day because it is the birthday of its creator, George Washington Gale Ferris. I guess he needed a big wheel so he could print his name that long. I don't know. 1893, I do live in the past, sometimes the future. 1893, it was built for the World's Fair in Chicago. Whatever happened to World's Fairs? Do you know, Sean? Remember World's Fairs? You're old enough to remember, no?
Yeah. I don't remember the last one.
I don't know. I guess maybe the internet and things like that took over, but still, some of us still like the big crowds. Anyway, Mr. George Washington Gale Ferris was challenged to come up with a structure larger than the Eiffel Tower. And it is said, this number is crazy, but I looked it up a couple of times. 38,000 people a day rode that wheel. I mean, no, 38,000 a day. Anyway, after the event, he had to fight for his share of the money, and he died eventually of typhoid fever, which brings us back around to the coronavirus, which, I don't know, I mean, we're all getting afraid of. But, I asked my doctor a couple days ago, because the coronavirus is like a family. No, not your family or mine. But there's a lot of viruses many of us have already had. And I asked if you'd had one of those viruses in the past, are you immune like you are with most other or a lot of other, type diseases? And unfortunately, the answer is no. But, it's really not. We get a lot of headlines. We get a lot of bad headlines. But the good news is it's not yet, nor may it be, the pandemic that some of us are afraid of. I don't want people crying wolf either, like, remember the avian virus? Everybody was going to get it. Do you remember that, Sean? You were around for that a few years back. And it was like a huge pandemic that never happened. But, we got to take care of ourselves. Anyway, so when you don't get scared when you see somebody with that mask. The mask doesn't mean that they have it. It means that you are not going to get it from them. And sometimes people like to see that. But if it's going to be useful, it's made out of something you can't breathe through anyway. So the mask itself will probably kill you. In any case, let's not get fitted for a mask. Let's get fitted for a break. All right? Talk to you again. Just a minute. Hang in there. That's my favorite of the theme songs that the station has for me. And I'll get you some background on that as soon as I find it. I do know the name of it. I just, I'm old. I don't remember right now. So welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on your home planet. 1490 KMET AM radio, where you are about to check out, well, as soon as this is over, www.theeducatedretirementradio.com or drheckham.com, drhecm.com. Call me, 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233, or just email bestloantoday@gmail.com. Why? Because you need to know more about the choices you really have and how to protect what you have. I have a team of experts that can and will help you, so please make use of them. Call me and I can direct you to anyone who you have heard on this show or others. Whose birthday is it today? Jack Benny's. A guy by the name of Benjamin Kubelsky, Kubelsky, who came into the world in 1894 and left it in 1974. He was a vaudeville, radio, television comedian, always played a miser and the violin. And he was continuously my age, 39, which is, well, I'm not 39. I'm actually 46. That's because I was born in 1946, so that makes sense, and I'm not lying, right? Right. So he started violin studies at 6 years old and played in his high school dance band and orchestra until he was expelled from school. I'm proud of him. Later, he went to business school and did poorly there also. So he went to just playing his violin for money. And he did this in vaudeville theaters for $7.50 a week until one time he played in the same theater as the Marx Brothers, and their mother, the mother of the Marx Brothers, liked Benny so much that she asked him to join the act. And in the Navy, Jack tried to entertain the troops with his violin and was booed until he worked his way out of it by telling jokes, and as they say, the rest is history. The Jack Benny television show ran from 1950 to 1965, and that's a very long time in those days. And it's also Crash Corrigan's birthday, 1902 to 1976. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show. My wife gave me this Valentines. Nice. Now, Crash Corrigan was in many wonderful films, including this one. Okay. I'm sure you all remember this. If not, did I tell you? Yeah, I told you when he came into the world, 1902. So remember last week we spoke about Buster Crabbe, who did some of the Tarzan films. Johnny Weissmuller also played the role of Tarzan, many times with Crash Corrigan playing an ape. But Crash had his own suit, ape suit that is, and he went around as, I guess his job was like, or his card would have said, "Have ape suit, will travel." So that's the kind of guy he was. So he was in a lot of our favorite serials. And I don't mean Wheaties either. I mean things like, how about this one? Remember cereals? I do. Sean doesn't. I won't even ask him. But we talked about cereals and why we always love to go to the theater to see them. This one happens to be with, what's his name in it? Spock is in that, one of his first serials. Here's another one. I've got several of them with Crash. Just couldn't find them offhand. But in 1937, he bought land in the Santa Susana Mountains near Simi Valley and opened Corriganville Movie Ranch. And yes, I am old enough to have gone there. to see some of the shows. But it was set up for filming and putting on Old West shows. The movie studios did a lot of filming. I think Warner Brothers Ranch was out in that area also. But the same land was bought by Bob Hope, who turned it into Hopetown. So Corrigan and Bob, they both, a couple of guys who really like their names, I guess. Gregory Hines came in the same year I did, 1946, and checked out tragically in 2003. Dancer, choreographer, who grew up in Harlem and started dancing when he was 2 years old, and he was dancing professionally when he was 5. So he studied with the Nicholas brothers. You hear that, Bruce? And what do I have for? Oh, here's what I have for him. And his first film actually was Mel Brooks. We talked about him last week. It was in History of the World Part 1. And my wife and I met him the same time we met Aretha Franklin. I think we talked about that before. We met him and his son in the hotel library. So they were trapped with us. They couldn't get away. And there's as you can see, my wife really likes autographs, so she framed it, put a picture with him, and that's that. I'm going to try to move quickly because we've got a great guest coming up. So let's give you back to Sean, the station, and we'll see you in a minute. I like that music. That's why I don't want to chime in quite so fast, but, I guess I'm supposed to. Welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on your 1490 KMET AM radio, the Mighty Met, as I believe it once was called and probably still should be. There is no other Mighty Met, is there out there? No, I don't think so. But what happened this day in history? Later in the day, and this day is when you called me. But, okay. In 1900, this is pretty interesting, though, I think. In 1900, a group of girls at a boarding school in Australia went on a Valentine's Day picnic where some of the girls disappeared. At least that's the story that was going around that resulted in a best-selling book. I won't call it a novel, but called Picnic at Hanging Rock, written by Joan Lindsay in 1957. Now, there's a last chapter of the book that was published only after the author's death by instruction of the author. I didn't look that up yet, and I don't have. They got the book, but I don't have that last chapter, and I wonder what's in there. I know that Netflix has a series, and in that series on Netflix, it's supposed to be more, it's supposed to reflect more of what's actually in the book and has some more paranormal or that kind of things in it. Here's a Criterion. Oh, how about that side of the special edition, 3 discs in there. There's a copy of the book that actually comes with it. Now, I've seen the movie several times, and recommend everybody that you should. I think it's really good, and we'll let you watch it before I tell you too much more about it, but it's pretty intriguing all in all. That was a film done by Peter Weir. Now, Peter Weir from Australia did, I think, several really, really wonderful films. Amongst them was The Last Wave, which I really, really enjoyed. Here's The Last Wave. A little bit End of the World, a little bit Aboriginal Dream State, kind of alternative universes. Highly recommended. It stars Richard Chamberlain, who we've discussed, gave me a 50-cent tip at Clementine's in Beverly Hills so long ago. Yeah, we love him. But Peter Weir also did such other films as Year of Living Dangerously, Witness, Dead Poets Society, Master Commander of Far Side of the World. Where is that? Oh, yeah, here it is. Which was also really good. Looks like it's got the wrapper on it, but it's not. Anyway, so be it. Aretha Franklin's hit Respect came out in the same year, 1967, on this day, that is. And again, we mentioned earlier, in an earlier show, we got her autograph on the same trip as we got Gregory Hines. So, there. With that, let's see if we can get our guest, Laurie, with us. Anyways, welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio on KMET. And today, happy Valentine's Day, by the way.
Happy Valentine's Day, Jay.
So thank you. And any special I mean, we should be introducing you first, but let's get into this part. Right. How is Valentine? What's your big plans, you and your Valentine tonight?
We're supposed to go to San Diego actually tomorrow morning. It's the first Saturday I'm taking off tax season, so it should be a nice one.
Yeah, it should be nice day. Are you driving or taking the train?
No, we're probably going to drive and stay out there for the weekend, probably go hiking, and then we want to do like dinner on a boat, and we'll see what we do.
Oh, I did that dinner on a boat a while ago.
Oh, really? How was that?
It was just about, 35 years ago. It was good. What are you laughing at? You weren't born yet, but
it was just like yesterday.
You know what? You'd be surprised when you get this old. Sometimes it seems like just yesterday.
Uh-huh.
So I said that what was that I said? Boy, yeah, I'm old. I don't even remember what I said a few minutes ago about the stupid Cupid. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I was setting up.
Oh, you should know. I know. That's all right. You listen to the first part again another time. Right. But I was talking, San Diego had this, has this thing, Stupid Cupid Valentine's Day events. In San Diego is going to be an event called Mortified, which is an extravaganza where people celebrate and commiserate with stories of past bad Valentine's Days. So,
wow.
Oh yeah. Anyway, let's get straight to you while we can. Is that Pops behind you there?
That's my dad, Elias.
Why don't you have him come over and say hello?
Dad, do you want to say hello? That's my dad, Elias Income Tax. So
Hi.
That's the owner of the company. Yeah.
Happy Valentine.
Yeah, you got some good employees there, by the way. Thank you. So go ahead and finish telling us, Laurie, about the company and you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so our company name is Elias Income Tax. We're both enrolled agents, and we service, although we're based out of Orange County, and sorry, there's going to be a lot of background noise because, as you know, it's tax season, so it's a little but we're both enrolled agents based out of Orange County. However, we do service all 50 states. I'm admitted to practice before the IRS, so I can handle anything from IRS audits, collections, individual and business tax returns, as well as corporate. My website is eliasincometax.com. And for anybody that's listening, they could go onto our website, click on the Contact Us page, and you can send us an email there with any of your information, questions, concerns. And our phone number is 714-773-4000. Again, 714-773-4000.
Very good. Now, what, other than your favorite horror movie since we spoke last, what is there that we need to be concentrating now on the taxes, or what, do you have anything a little bit different or another angle or anything about this tax season?
This tax season, yeah, there are a few things actually. One of them is actually, so one of the things I want to talk about is the 2019 common mistakes or things to look at before, you file your taxes. So the mortgage insurance premium, or otherwise known as PMI, I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
That's now tax deductible. It was eliminated last year, but they did, you can claim it now and even do your amended return retroactively for 2018 and claim it.
Wow, that is a big thing.
Yeah, because honestly, a lot of people, that especially for new people that just purchased a home, they have, the PMI, and it's thousands of dollars sometimes. And that's a deduction they used to be missing. So now they could claim it.
Yeah. Well, I'm so old, I remember when it was.
That was just 2 years ago that they
No, long ago it came and went. But I am so old, I remember when credit card interest was deductible.
You know what? I've only heard the rumors.
Oh, yeah, you've heard about cavemen and things like that, too.
Right. So, yeah, that used to be, it's funny that I'm like, now thinking about it, I've never even heard of it. I've been doing this for over 10 years and I had never heard of credit card interest, only rumors, but.
Oh, I think it's a lot longer ago than 10 years, but we can check on that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's now deductible, which is great. Another thing that I'm noticing with people claiming on their taxes is their student between 19 and 23, college student. For whatever reason, the college student is claiming or doing his own taxes. However, they're living at home still, maybe only making a few $1,000s. So, what is happening is that the parent is losing out on either head of household or the dependent credit, plus the tuition expenses.
I was going to say, how much of that college cost is actually deductible?
Up to $2,500. So, which is
a unit?
No, not unit, just overall.
Because you know what it costs to go to college.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's a fraction. If we're talking about college expenses, yeah, most college kids are spending now between $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. But yeah, as far as reimbursement, it's $2,500 with the American Opportunity Tax Credit. But I always suggest to parents to always make sure that their student or their child that lives at home to bring them their W-2s at the same time that they file. Because what happens is that sometimes the student files and they only make a couple $1,000s altogether. So they're missing out on the max benefits from the
I should get you hooked up with another repeat offender on this show. I was saying earlier that nobody appears on the show more than you or Chris Bissonette. And what he does is save people money on tuition.
Oh, okay.
So, it might be a good connection for both of you.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, here's another thing you read about in the history books. When I went to Cal State, I started going to the junior college in Fullerton, and they kicked me out.
Oh.
I didn't last more than a week and a half or so. So I started up at Cal State Fullerton, which was a pretty good fit,
Right.
and $700 not a unit, a semester.
Oh, wow.
$700 a semester.
Wow.
And I thought that was a lot.
Wow.
Well, it's more then than it is now, but it's nothing by comparison.
Oh, no, not at all. Even when I went to UC Riverside, I graduated from UC Riverside in 2003. My quarter, UCs go by quarters. The quarter semester was only like $1,300, like $1,400 a quarter. So
wow, that's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all. But
That's like a full load, yeah.
Yeah, that was nothing. And then that's obviously plus books, which books were even a bit expensive back then. But I mean, it's nothing compared to what it is now.
Yeah.
That was about 20 years ago.
And of course, my just one look at me, and for sure I didn't get any sports deals. I didn't get any scholarships for sports, did I?
We've talked about this. Your listeners don't know what you look like.
Yeah, they do. If they're watching, they do.
If they're watching, they do. But not listening, not by the sound of your voice.
Yeah, I do have a wide angle lens here. So, okay, so Yeah, that's good. Don't let college age kids do their own. Talk to you first. There may be a situation when it is better for them to do that,
Right. And
but
then
usually not. And you need to know.
right. And especially, you know what? It might be better because sometimes the parent has a tax liability. That's one reason why the student might want to, and maybe the student makes, enough income to support himself, perhaps maybe 10, 12,000, maybe renting at a dorm, whatever, with student loans. He might be better off just claiming his own tuition.
Yeah, a lot of people just go ahead and do things without talking to somebody like yourself. I get a lot of people because I deal with a lot of older people.
Right.
And they want to put their son or daughter on, they've owned the house for 40 years. They want to put their son and daughter on title. And I say, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert. I always, try to say, hey, I'm not the one to listen to, except I'm telling you to talk to an expert.
Right.
Because probably they get their base for their capital gains or whatever 40 years ago instead of sometime in the future. And that's a huge difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, speaking of capital gains, that's another thing that I do get questioned on is you have to talk to an expert for that, because some people miss out on, or they don't know about the exemptions, or they don't know about what things can be done to reduce that exemption amount and not have to pay from that net profit from the gains of the home, because they might sell their home as long as they've been in the home as a primary residence over 2 years. There's an exemption for married couples of $500,000. For single people, it's $250,000. But there's some things like selling expenses, commission, and stuff like that could help reduce that profit. So again, that's something that you need to talk to somebody like myself, to clarify and make sure you don't pay taxes.
Well, somebody that's owned a house, especially in California for a while, that 250,000 or even the 500 may not work.
Right, exactly. So again, that's why they would need to call me. Exactly. So so definitely make sure you going back to the students, the American Opportunity Tax Credit. This is another thing that I see this mostly because a lot of parents encourage their kids to go to school, and whether it's part-time, full-time, whatever it is. And the thing is that this American Opportunity Tax Credit is the highest credit that they give for college students, but it's only eligible for 4 years. So after 4 years, they can't use it. Then they would have to use the lifetime learning credit, or, and it's not nearly as great. Another thing with this American Opportunity Tax Credit, it's for undergraduates only, not for master's degree or any other thing.
Although that's expensive too, and it should be, but what can I say?
Yeah, but even, what's really cool about that credit is even if somebody's going to a beauty school or a tech job, to be a plumber or whatever it is, they can also use that credit as long as they don't have an undergraduate degree and haven't gone to college before.
You know any experts that can help my beauty?
What? Do I know any?
To help beautify me? That's beyond, right?
No, absolutely. I have people that can do facials and, whatever else you need.
Plastic surgery? I'm not sure if that's...
I don't know.
I think that would be deductible if I was a much larger star on this, but, I don't think I'm a big enough video star for that to be tax deductible.
Right,
yeah.
Right. No, you're right. Yeah, that's that's in the making. The other thing I've seen a lot of is people doing Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, DoorDash, or getting 1099s for that. I have seen, what I always ask any new client is to bring me their previous year's tax return. And what I see is sometimes they don't claim the correct type of mileage or supplies, like sometimes they buy snacks, water, but mileage, for whatever reason, I don't know why, they don't claim the correct amount. If you print out, or if they print out the document, the 1099 document, they provide mileage of how much was actually reported. That alone usually almost zeroes out that income.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one reason. For 2019, the standard mileage rate is 58 cents a mile. So that usually, with the 10,000 miles or 5,000 miles, whatever it is that they, drive, it usually eliminates it. So
Now,
it's
what ends up being cheaper, having a gas guzzler or driving a Prius?
yeah, of
That's
course.
up in the air now, isn't it?
Right, exactly. So that's another thing to make sure, and also keep receipts if you buy supplies. Even those drivers don't know that they could claim their phone, their cell phone, a percentage of their phone, of course.
Right. Now, this year, and you and I talked about this a lot, this year with the new California loan law, these Uber drivers can no longer, and people like that, a lot of people who used to be independent contractors can no longer claim to be an independent contractor, right?
Right.
So a lot of that will change, but you're working on 2019 taxes now,
Right.
and that's all of that applies for everybody still.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the AB5 law, I was going to say perhaps maybe on the next show, maybe we could talk about it and expand it, because that's something that's new in California, and a lot of small or LLCs, S corps,
Yeah.
They should know how to determine if somebody's an independent contractor or if they're a W-2 employee. So, and there are some exemptions. There are some people that could still be exempt from that law, but there's a lot more that have to be included. So I think we should expand on it for sure.
Yeah. Because I know it was passed to try to protect certain workers.
Right.
But I'm not sure if it's protecting or hurting more workers overall.
Yeah.
So,
I know, because even, for example, with truckers, they're one that they actually have like a temporary hold or something that they go to that 1099 category, or they can go into the 1099 category because they do have a lot of expenses. So that's still kind of in the air. I don't know the determination.
I don't think that would really be a big deal if it weren't for the last federal tax law change, where if you were a W-2 employee, well, if you're a 1099 employee, you still have your Schedule C. But as a W-2 employee, you used to be able to have employee business expenses.
Right.
And that was taken away, and that has huge effect.
Right, huge effect. Still to this day, a lot of people, the only thing I've done is with a lot of people that used to claim mileage, meals and entertainment, all these other things got disqualified altogether, is get the reimbursement from your employer since you're W-2 now. Employers have a way to track it. Make sure you get your reimbursement there. And I still encourage people to ask if they qualify to deduct those expenses with the state of California or, other states that allow, actually as long as they have state income tax, they will allow deductions. So they just have to check, because
the state is still good on that.
Right. But there are thresholds, and they're pretty high. So they're all, if you don't meet those thresholds, then you can't deduct those work expenses anymore.
But federal taxes are usually a whole lot higher than the state taxes.
Yes.
Although people complain all the time about California taxes, I'm not one of them, but I think you get what you pay for. But now, how effective is each dollar spent? I mean, you're always going to have good things and not so good things. But
right. Oh, exactly. So speaking a little bit about that 1099 now, if you're W-2, again, ask your taxpayer like myself if they qualify for deductions. Now, if you're simply 1099, make sure, or even a cash business, make sure that there's some sort of record keeping on your expenses, because I've noticed some people get 1099s that are rather large, and they have no idea what to deduct or what was allowed to deduct that year. And
you've got to, because that's gross you need an adjusted gross income, not gross.
Right, adjusted gross income, would still be pretty high. So I would say, as long as there's whether it's through Excel spreadsheets or QuickBooks, but find a method to
or if you're on W-2, you just claim 40 dependents.
No, and then be left with a large tax bill. No.
Okay.
I never encourage any W-2 employee to claim exempt ever. I will never say that, because then you're left with a huge tax bill, then underpayment of tax penalties. So I wouldn't recommend that. But for 1099 cash businesses,
that was kind of a joke. So
Yeah, of course. We can't be so serious about taxes.
I can't believe the time's going by so fast. Maybe next time you're on the show, we'll just do the whole hour.
Okay.
We-
Because it's never ending with taxes, isn't it?
Well, and we haven't even gotten into horror movies, right?
No, we didn't. But you know what? I owe you because next time I'm on the show, we will discuss Parasite. I haven't seen it yet, and I told you I was going to try to see it this week.
Well, remember, the first 2/3 of it is not a horror movie.
Okay.
The last third is. So
Okay.
it's quite a roller coaster ride. But I can't believe the director of Parasite said one of his favorite movies this year was Midsummer.
No way.
And he also liked
Wow.
the other one that Ari Aster did, which I do too. I think we agreed on the
Which,
Inheritance. What is it? Inheritance or you know which one?
yeah. What was the name of it? Yeah, something like Inheritance, something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty brilliant in a way, but
Yeah. That was pretty good. But I can't believe he said Midsummer.
I can't either. You know, the thing is with that movie, there's nobody to identify with.
Right.
You know, she was, like I said, is she going to be worth it or not? And she turned out to be a pretty horrible person.
Right.
Nothing changed for her at the end. Nothing.
Right.
It was like everything was set up to show something change in her at the end, and there was nothing there.
No.
The guy, you didn't particularly like him either.
Right.
So who is? I mean, you got to identify with somebody, right?
Right. At least one good guy, maybe, or some sort of hope in the story. And I don't think
Right.
that story had any hope.
Right. But
I gave you a fair warning before you saw
did.
it.
You did, but you know what? When you give somebody a warning like that, it's almost like a dare to watch it, right? And since it was on Amazon for free, my wife couldn't watch very much of it, but I did.
Okay. Even when you told me you were halfway through the movie, I just said, just don't do it.
Yeah, I know. Good advice. So good advice for Midsummer translates to good advice for taxes too.
Right. Exactly.
So how big of a tax load is there in April compared to October?
What is that? April?
Well, as far as I know, taxes are due in October, right?
They're due in April by April.
I know, that was a joke too.
Oh.
They're due in October, but you can prepay in April. That's the way
Right.
I see it.
Exactly. So
That
as long
too
as
was
you
a joke.
Pay, exactly. No, you're right. As long as you pay by April 15th, then you're fine with filing until October 15th, as long as you file the extension.
Yeah.
Make sure you file the extension.
Well, my CPA just puts in the extension automatically every year. He's got all my signatures because he knows I never pay.
Yeah, there's people on my automatic list that I just, I don't even bother. But yeah.
Well, once you do it once in October, you don't want to pay taxes 6 months. So you're always doing it in October.
Right.
Exactly.
I know. That's true.
When I had my first company, it was like my tax person at the time said, well, take first half of the year W-2, the second half 1099, and then you can borrow from the company on paper, of course, and just move it into the following year for taxes. Now that saved money the first year, but thereafter makes no difference whatsoever. But
Right.
once you got that, you're setting that trap. If you pull off of it, you've got twice the taxes in 1 year. So
Right.
once
No,
you
that's
start,
true. Yeah, that's true. I know. So you didn't tell me, by the way, Jay, since the show's almost over, what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
I'm going to be on the show here. My wife is working both days this weekend, but we'll do something.
Okay, yeah.
We will do something. I'm not sure what, but you don't have to plan in advance. Some of the better ones, I remember once when they were on weekends a couple of years ago, we went down to Grand Central Market and had lunch at Wexler's. Supposedly the best corned beef in town, pastrami in town, although I still enjoy Langer sitting there better, but still. And we sat at the little bar there in Grand Central Market, and there were a bunch of other older couples that were also celebrating Valentine's Day. So,
Nice. That's nice.
yeah.
I know we're not celebrating it tonight, but tomorrow night. We figured tonight's going to.
Well, you're supposed to celebrate it every day, right? You're supposed
Right.
to appreciate who you're with
Right.
and enjoy friendship forever.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Yeah, we should appreciate life for every day that we have.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And I'm hoping I have a few more days of that.
You do. You
But-
have still a long road ahead.
Oh, yeah, another 30, 40 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you say so, then that helps. But any real advice for
Huh?
getting your taxes ready for this year? Other than to call you, any other advice?
No, that's really about it. Just call me with any questions, concerns. Some people don't even have filing requirements. You know, we don't charge for that. If you don't
Yeah.
have to file, you don't have to file. So, but yeah, our phone number is 714-773-4000. Again, 714-773-4000. Our website is www.eliasincometax.com. On the contact us page, they could.
Okay, we got 1 minute. I see a bunch of people are behind you working. So
Yeah.
you got more than one tax return to do, huh?
Yes, I do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm working probably till like 6 or 7 tonight. So
But you are taking tomorrow off.
yes, which is different. It's a first time ever. And during tax season. So,
That's good. I got an appointment, hopefully for a new loan. Well, it is for a new loan tomorrow morning.
oh, good.
So that I am so busy. It's like people really want to know about this now.
Oh,
And once they know about it, they love it. They love the idea of it. But you got to know about it, It's just like taxes. Well, I think when people learn about reverse mortgages, they love it. When people learn about taxes, they don't necessarily love them. But they do have to be educated on them so they can get the best out of it.
right, exactly.
And I think it's time to go before they kick us off. So
Okay.
happy Valentine's Day, Laurie. Happy Valentine's Day, Sean. Happy Valentine's
thank
Day
you, Sean.
to everybody listening.
Yes.
And remember, Kaplan will be here in front of the cigar store next week.
You've been listening to the Educated Retirement Show with Jay Kaplan. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. to learn more about your mortgage and reverse mortgages. And don't forget, each show is also podcasted on the KMET website, KMET 1490 AM.